One of the most important battles in world history took place on December 7th, 1941 at Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. To understand why this battle took place, we have to go back to July 7th, 1937, when Japan started their campaign up Korea and into China. Because Japan has little to no natural resources of their own, Japan invaded China and the East Indies to get some of their oil and gas. This was because they had a new and expanding empire. The U.S. responded to the Second Sino-Japanese War by placing a full embargo on Japan. Japan had an estimated 2 years' worth of oil and gas without the U.S. sending more. This caused the Japanese government to act irrationally. On November 26, 1941, a Japanese task force departed from Japan and set course to the island of Oahu, Hawaii. They had with them 2 heavy cruisers, 35 submarines, 2 light cruisers, 9 oilers, 2 battleships, and 11 destroyers, and the most important assets were the 6 aircraft carriers. They were to do most of the damage. On board these carriers were the Aki Type 99, Mitsubishi Zero, and the Nakajima Kate, 420 aircraft in all. After 3,500 miles being traveled east, the carrier task force launched 40 torpedo planes, 103 level bombers, and 131 dive bombers and 79 fighters. They were 200 miles away from Oahu. From there, the first wave flew south to the naval base of Pearl Harbor. At 6 a.m., the first wave, consisting of 183 aircraft, arrived. They were carrying modified torpedoes with fins on the end so they could be effective in shallow waters. The main dive bombers came southwest around the coast and heading up north into Pearl Harbor. A smaller group broke off to strike Wheeler Air Base further north. 83 aircraft had been destroyed, 38 men killed, and 59 wounded. The slower torpedo planes took the most direct route over the island. Halfway across the island of Oahu, torpedo bombers split up into their respective squadrons. The American personnel on duty at the time had no clue that the aircraft coming over the horizon were on their way to ruin their morning. It was clear that this was no drill when the USS Oklahoma was struck. Moments later, an 800-kilogram bomb landed on the battleship USS Arizona, causing the foreign munitions to ignite and the immediate sinking of the ship. 1,177 people died aboard the USS Arizona, accounting for half the deaths of that day. Since it was a Sunday, very few men were on duty, allowing for the torpedo bombers, dive bombers, and fighters to have easy pickings, especially at the airbase on Ford Island, without the immediate threat of any anti-aircraft guns. Many of the pilots had combat experience in China, but the 5 American pilots, who were very lucky to even make it off the ground, did not. The first wave left 11 minutes after they had first arrived, although the original plan was to have the first wave out in 90 seconds. This could not be achieved due to the small area where torpedo aircraft could be effective, forcing them to attack Battleship Row in single file. The second wave consisted of 171 aircraft with fighters, dive bombers, and high-altitude bombers. Multiple squadrons broke off and attacked Hickam and Bellows Army airfields. The air bases lost 217 men, 77 aircraft. Naval air stations at Ford Island and Kanahaw lost 19 men. The dive bombers hit and damaged many of the ships in Battleship Row. By 9 a.m., all the Japanese aircraft had returned to their aircraft carriers. By the afternoon, the fleet was already gone. The following day, part of the fleet broke off and attacked and captured Wake Island. On December 8, 1941, the U.S. declared war on Japan, then Nazi Germany officially declared war on America. At the end of the day, a total of 2,403 were dead, and 1,178 were wounded. Only a total of 129 Japanese soldiers were killed. Only the battleships USS Arizona, Utah, and Oklahoma were damaged beyond repair. All damaged ships were repaired and sent back out to fight before the end of the war. Soon, all military bases were operational again. Not only that, but the main targets of the Japanese Navy, the aircraft carriers Enterprise, Lexington, and Saratoga, were all not present at the time of the attack, sparing them from the onslaught. These carriers would be used at the upcoming Battle of Midway that would decide who would be the champion of the Pacific.